Cole Hauser speaks out against final Yellowstone season. Believe it or not, Yellowstone has finally come to an end. The Western drama on Paramount finally said goodbye to its fans, but not in the way it was expected of it. With a lot of controversy surrounding the show's stars and how the show would eventually end, some actors had a lot on their minds by the time the show wrapped up its filming. Let's take a look at how Yellowstone bade us farewell and how one star in particular spoke his mind about the show. Cole Hauser on Yellowstone. There have been countless theories on Reddit as to what the final season of Yellowstone is going to bring us, and the only person from Yellowstone who felt like giving us a hint was Cole Hauser, who plays rancher Rip Wheeler on the hit show. In an interview with Reuters, Hauser shared that fans are going to be pretty surprised when they see what's in store for them. Even if they already have their opinions about it, it doesn't matter. There are so many things that are going to pop out of the blue, and these things are simply going to blow fans away. Hauser said, "This show and what they think this season is going to be, everybody has their opinion of it," he told the outlet. And to be quite honest, none of them are right. We wonder why Hauser is teasing us this way, because even though he isn't giving us much detail by saying this, he's keeping us intrigued. He continues, "Kelly Riley and I both were told by show creator Taylor Sheridan many moons ago what his dream was for the characters and the ending and where they would be. So we kind of had an idea," he told The Hollywood Reporter in an article published on November 13th. "But to see it on the page and then to be able to shoot it was kind of a beautiful moment for me. Doesn't this excite us all? Wheeler and all the other characters on the show might be getting their deserved end, and that's what is going to make this show one to remember when the years pass by." Another thing to note is that Cole didn't just talk about his character here. He mentioned that it could be a fitting end to every other character as well. This is what is keeping most Yellowstone fans on the edge of their seats. But it wasn't a comfortable goodbye for the main character of the show, John Dutton, who was played by none other than Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner's goodbye to Yellowstone. Plenty of rumors about Yellowstone told us that Kevin Costner had quit the critically acclaimed series because of his ego trip with the entire crew. Since Costner is one of the biggest names in Hollywood, this news seemed to be false at first. Costner has since denied these rumors. He went on to say that he enjoyed the project, the cast and crew, and the show itself. Being such an integral part of the show, it didn't make sense for him to have any ill intentions towards it. Costner gave around 5 years, or maybe even more, to develop Yellowstone. How could he have jumped ship when the show was about to have such a solid ending? For Taylor Sheridan's Paramount drama, Costner eventually originated the lead role of John Dutton and remained with the series for 5 seasons before rumors of his exiting the show became regular tabloid news. Many people said that the Oscar winner was planning to return to the big screen for his film Horizon, an American saga, which hit screens this summer to mediocre appeal. In marketing the idea of Yellowstone, Costner described it as simply being a one-shot movie. It was more like a movie than a television show to him. The ball for this project never stopped rolling, and it was concluded that the idea of airing a TV show would effectively popularize the idea of Yellowstone. It was then that Costner and Sheridan decided to create a television show rather than a movie. Sheridan and Costner were the only two professionals tied contractually to this show from the beginning. These two are why Yellowstone has been able to become such a popular show for the long haul. Through thick and thin, they have always been able to sort out their problems, and that has paid off because of how successful this show has become. That, in turn, has improved their stardom to quite an extent. This could be due to the fact that no matter how much the two equally misunderstood each other, the situation was always able to be worked out. It was quoted that Costner okayed the offer to take up multiple scenes so that he would stay on the set longer. On any of the occasions whereby his loyalty to the show has been put to the test, he has always come out in support of it. What was to have spanned 3 seasons was increased to 5, which shows how committed Costner was to the show. Costner was also tied to the series up to the 5th season, but in the meantime, no one was available to offer any updates on the production schedule. Here, rumors began filtering in about Costner's ego being responsible for the situation. It goes without saying that Costner was frustrated at the lack of people coming up to stick up for him. He said that nobody was on his side. Nobody came up to defend what he did for them during their time of need. People failed to appreciate what Costner brought to the table, and as anyone else would feel, he too felt underappreciated. Nevertheless, Costner put all that to the side and applauded the show's writing. He liked what Taylor was doing. He explained that he knows the world of contemporary writing, yet in spite of all this, he was still able to create all this drama in Yellowstone, which people enjoyed. Cosner also considered coming back for the final season of the show, but as we know, that didn't happen. As much as Cosner loved Yellowstone, some things are just based on business, and you can't take them personally. Perhaps Sheridan and Cosner didn't deal with their situation well enough, which elevated and turned even more sour according to the media. But there were times when things were quite sour between the two, and things seemed at an all-time low. Sheridan and Cosner's differences. Speaking of struggling, Cosner and Sheridan's relationship from both ends has been pretty cold since the beginning of 2024. Like Cosner, Sheridan is known in the industry as someone who religiously sticks to his creative schedule. If there are any delays or drawbacks, Sheridan doesn't like it. After what Cosner did, the last thing he should be expecting from Sheridan is to ask him to come back on the show. With the scripts already finalized, making changes in the story at the 11th hour would have messed up the arc of the supporting cast. The cast includes some pretty talented names like Kelly Riley and Wes Bentley. On the other hand, Sheridan has been cool as a cucumber throughout the entire situation. Even though Sheridan was quiet when Cosner departed from the show, he let his feelings be known about what went down. Sheridan told the public that Kevin Costner's image as an actor hasn't changed in his eyes. The key word here is actor. An actor and a person are two different people. Isn't that right, Mr. Cosner? Nevertheless, in the past, Sheridan said that the two have never had any major problems, but when lawyers start to become part of a situation and say things on others' behalf, that is when things get messy. Even the press or public doesn't spare a chance to exaggerate any news they get. Cosner has played the central character John Dutton for 5 seasons on Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone, but as soon as his personal project of Horizon came into the picture, his Yellowstone focus somewhat shifted. From that point on, John Dutton's character in Yellowstone had a huge question mark looming over his head. Sheridan ended his statement by saying he doesn't know anyone who deserves the kind of treatment Cosner has received. Sheridan also voiced his support for Horizon and hoped that it would succeed. Even acclaimed writer Stephen King spoke out in Horizon's defense during its release. King took to X, formerly known as Twitter, to say that this reaction to Horizon was pretty much unexpected. After all, why would anyone hype up a film that isn't under the banner of the Marvel Universe? Now, that's a pretty strong statement from a critically acclaimed writer. Everyone from the fans to filmmakers in the industry knows how difficult it was for Cosner to greenlight this project. He spent $38 million of his own money to bring this to life. But since it isn't a Marvel project, the noise around it will probably fade very soon. Although the first part didn't work out, we really hope that future sequels have much more life in them. Stepping away from Cosner and speaking about the character John Dutton himself, Sheridan said that although it doesn't alter the character's fate, it shortens his screen time. That being said, the story is in the hands of Sheridan, and not even Cosner can do anything about it. That's right, rumor has it that Sheridan shot down Cosner when he tried to modify some elements of Yellowstone during the early seasons of the show. Sheridan said that it would be better if he stuck to acting. Saying something like that to Kevin Costner? Not everyone can do that. When Sheridan implicitly challenged Costner's approach, they started to argue slightly. Sheridan believes that if two people talk to each other, they can resolve their dispute. But in general, things didn't really end on a positive note for these two. Sheridan did, though, sum up the conversation with a certain amount of finesse. He wished Cosner and Horizon all the luck in the world before it was released. However, Sheridan never planned to have John Dutton reach the end by whatever means he had in mind. Sheridan said he was let down by the fact that it hurt the character's ending. The book's conclusion remains unchanged. As for John Dutton's storyline, Sheridan tried to convince Cosner to shoot several scenes to finish the character's arc. It is not known whether that happened in the background. Cosner and Sheridan have been the driving forces behind the series from day one. Their dedication and vision are largely responsible for the show's widespread success. Even though occasional disagreements did take place, the two always figured out a way to make things work. Cosner has told how his involvement in Yellowstone turned out to be much more than he had hoped. His original plan was to stay for 3 seasons, but due to his love for the show, he couldn't help but extend his stay. Another reason why Yellowstone was propelled to even greater heights is because when Costner's personal project for Horizon tanked, people started gravitating towards Yellowstone, particularly because they both share the same genre. What set Horizon and Yellowstone apart? Yellowstone and Horizon, an American saga, are 2 different paths in Kevin Costner's illustrious career, which shows exactly how good of a storyteller Costner is. However, it's all about how well the content is presented to fans, which Horizon failed to do. Yellowstone Yellowstone, a modern-day neo-Western drama, grasps viewers in the dramatic world of the Dutton family, who have the largest ranch in Montana under their control. This series, created by Taylor Sheridan and John Linson, delves into themes of power, family legacy, and the clash between tradition and modernity, all set against the backdrop of ongoing land disputes with native reservations, land developers, and national parks. The stunning backdrop of Western America, coupled with the brilliant chemistry between the actors, brought some rave reviews for Yellowstone throughout its entire run. On the other hand, Horizon is an ambitious periodic drama that aims to showcase the expansion of Western America. Although this show is also rich in its themes, Horizon has struggled to make its mark with the audience. This is possibly due to the film's slow pace and inaccurate depiction of historical events, understanding the success of Yellowstone and the failure of Horizon. So let's take things from the beginning and see exactly how Yellowstone stepped onto its path of success. In 2018, Taylor Sheridan, who had developed established projects such as Hell or High Water and Sicario, pitched Yellowstone to Paramount TV. Sheridan had earned a strong reputation for creating interesting characters with multiple arcs. His way of creating characters and writing them had already earned him an Academy Award nomination. He then pivoted towards directing the film Wind River, which further solidified his status in the industry. This allowed him to get the work in and develop more complex characters, which he would then use in Yellowstone. Sounds like a genius at work, doesn't it? Sheridan emphasized the need to keep things authentic in Yellowstone, one of the biggest reasons why the show has done so well. He aimed to depict the ranch setting and cowboy lifestyle accurately, avoiding cliches and stereotypes that surround such portrayal. This dedication to realism, from the type of saddles and horses used to the specific situations ranchers face, resonated with the show's producers and ultimately the audience. Paramount TV and Kevin Costner were particularly drawn to the genuine depiction of the cowboy world and the complex, morally ambiguous characters. Yellowstone distinguished itself by presenting protagonists who were flawed and human, making them relatable to viewers. Sheridan's approach to crafting characters who grapple with moral and ethical dilemmas added depth to the narrative. This nuanced storytelling, combined with the breathtaking Montana vistas, captivated audiences. The show's debut was a significant success, with 4.2 million viewers tuning in for the third season's premiere. Its popularity grew even more during the pandemic, attracting a larger audience. The pilot episode effectively set up the show's world, introducing viewers to the Dutton family, their ranch, and the financial and territory challenges they face. Rumors surrounding Cosner. Rumors suggested that Kevin Costner's exit from Yellowstone was due to conflicts and ego clashes with the team. Costner has denied these claims, expressing his love for the show, its cast, and the entire production. He has publicly shared his affection for the Yellowstone world. Costner brought the character John Dutton to life, leading the series for 5 seasons until speculation about his departure became widespread. Many believed that Costner intended to step back to focus on Horizon. However, Costner's future in Yellowstone remains uncertain. Reflecting on the show's origins, Costner recalls pitching it to Taylor Sheridan as a standalone film, which was more aligned with his experience in cinema. However, as discussions progressed, they decided that a TV series would be a more suitable format for Yellowstone. Both Costner and Sheridan have been deeply invested in the show since its beginning, and their dedication has been instrumental in its success. Despite occasional disagreements, Costner emphasized that he always extended his commitment to the show. Initially planning for 3 seasons, he ended up dedicating himself to 5. Costner was prepared to continue into the 5th season, but the lack of a clear production timeline led to frustration and rumors of ego issues. Costner expressed disappointment over the lack of support during these rumors, feeling that no one defended his contributions. He mentioned reaching a boiling point, hoping someone would acknowledge his efforts, but unfortunately, that recognition never came. Despite the negative rumors, Costner maintains positive sentiments about Yellowstone and praises Sheridan's writing. He acknowledges Sheridan's ability to craft compelling drama that has captivated audiences. Costner remains open to returning for the show's conclusion, depending on the circumstances and his feelings at the time. Costner's eventual goodbye to Yellowstone. Regarding the lead character of the show, Costner had left before the shooting of the 5th season was complete. Were things that bleak with Sheridan? Costner had an issue with the producers, and after that, he was able to settle it last summer. He informed his fans that he would not be coming back during the second part of the 5th season. To be sure, this news did truly split the viewers of the show down the middle, but there was nothing they could do about it. It was not any better for Costner, as Horizon, his Western flick's first part, got equally poor reviews. Still, it did not benefit Costner to come back to Yellowstone when his own produced project appeared to have bottomed out. A little ego might have crept in too at that time as well. News reported that Kevin Costner left Yellowstone because of disagreement with the crew, maybe because of an overstated ego. Nevertheless, Costner categorically dismissed such allegations while stating that he has love for the show, cast, and the production process. He has always been grateful for the Yellowstone world and everyone that contributes to it. Well, Costner had to get into demonstrating a way that he's committed to the project anyway, perhaps? As a leading man, Costner's been the center of Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone for 5 seasons and John Dutton. However, once his own show Horizon joined the picture, his Yellowstone dilettante somewhat evolved. Despite having a few unknowns as to where Yellowstone will go next, at least Costner's departure happened with confusion on what's to become of John Dutton. Costner has also told how his involvement in Yellowstone turned out to be much more than he had hoped. His original plan was to stay for 3 seasons, but due to his love for the show, he couldn't help but extend his stay. Everything to know about Yellowstone Season 5. Yellowstone is quite possibly the best drama on television right now. Hands down. Kevin Costner has a big hand in that, but part of it has to do with the way all the characters are layered and how well put together their scenes are. As for the show's current plotline, a war breaks out amongst the Duttons with Jamie and Beth, played respectively by Wes Bentley and Kelly Riley, who strongly oppose each other. Meanwhile, John, Costner, faces a risk of being impeached, and to make matters worse, a deadly illness for cattle and other wildlife is spreading in Montana, the place where the show is set. Earlier this month, Ian Bohen, the character who plays Ryan, said that filming the second part of the 5th season will commence in May. The next 6 months will require all the editing and sound to be completed before the show is released in November. It won't be until the final episode airs in December, so for all the Yellowstone fans out there, it will be an eventful end to a brilliant show. The 5th season won't be the last we see of the Yellowstone Universe. Paramount announced a spin-off show that will be a sequel to the original story of Yellowstone. They're calling it 2024 at the moment, but that could change. Matthew McConaughey was in discussions to play the lead role, to which we say, all right, all right, all right. The second part of Yellowstone's final season will be released in November 2024. A show that was aired in 2018 came through the winds of the pandemic and is now on course to end this year. It will surely stick with fans for times to come. For all the lovers of Western drama and Kevin Costner, y'all can already look forward to June when Horizon is out. Kevin Costner's return to Yellowstone will get many of the show's fans back into the mix, as the hard-hitting and ruthless John Dutton will be back on the show. For how long? Well, nobody except Taylor Sheridan knows this right now. With the abrupt ending of the show that had to be written up due to Costner's exit, Paramount scrapped any plans that were in the works for a 6th season. The streaming company decided that ending Yellowstone on Season 5 would be the best possible course of action. Of course, this also helped it tease projects for the future, so it was a win-win situation for Paramount either way. Then again, there's also the fact that there might have been a huge risk had Season 6 aired because it would have messed up the storyline. Guess we'll never know how that could have gone down. Michelleifer enters the Yellowstone Universe. It seems that the Yellowstone Universe will continue without Kevin Costner, but there just might be a new sheriff in town. The critically acclaimed show is set to star none other than the very talented Michelleifer. The Oscar-nominated actress is currently 66 years old and will play a big part in the expansion of the franchise. She is set to act in and produce a new spin-off series called The Madison, which was recently commissioned by MTV Entertainment Studios and 101 Studios. With the first title, 2024, which was later changed to The Madison, fans began to speculate what the show would be about. It is said to be a touching portrait of mourning and people's bond. The movie revolves around a family from New York City who tries to live in the Madison River Valley of central Montana. Unlike the earlier spin-offs, The Madison will be based on the present rather than the past. This new series will see the same showrunner as Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan. This will make sure that it feels like it's set in the Yellowstone world, and nobody can do that better than Sheridan. This upcoming series is the latest in the Yellowstone franchise, and there have been other spin-offs to this series. These are 1883, which explores the background of the Dutton family, and 1923, which depicts the Dutton family in the early 20th century. And here's more good news. Another spin-off called 1944 was announced in the previous year as a sequel to 1923, and The Madison adds a modern touch to the growing franchise. Seeing Michelleifer joining the cast is exciting. She is famous for her ability to execute her characters with the highest passion and realism. Wouldn't we all like to see her at the top of her game in The Madison? Her partnership with Taylor Sheridan will be interesting to see. We can only hope that The Madison lives up to the hype that it's being set to. With Yellowstone having come to an end and Cole Hauser letting his thoughts be known to the public, it's clear that Yellowstone wasn't made to stand alone on its own. As the show became an eventual success, it ended up spawning a whole universe. With Michelleifer and other big names joining the Yellowstone Universe in the future, fans can't help but be excited for what's to come. However, one thing that the producers will have to keep in mind is to not treat their future stars like they've treated Cosner. Otherwise, they'll have a lot to answer for when it comes to the fans. When your leading man is treated the way he was, then anyone instead of Cosner would have stopped putting his heart and soul into the show. The situation could have been handled better, and even Cosner's character might have had a better end. But there are just some things in life that are spontaneous and they just happen. Hopefully, the Yellowstone team will avoid making similar mistakes in the future when shows that branch off of Yellowstone make it to our television screens. What do you think about Cole Hauser spilling the tea on Yellowstone? Don't forget to give this video a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you with another video very soon.